Welcome to my playthrough of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D. This is the remake of the original game that came out in 1998 on the Nintendo 64, a classic that many still consider one of the greatest games of all time. The 3DS version improves a lot of things. It looks better, runs smoother, and adds features like gyro aiming and touchscreen controls, which really help with using items like the slingshot or bow and navigating menus. At its core, it's still the same legendary game, just with quality of life improvements that make it feel more modern. As I go through the game, I'll be pointing out interesting facts, diving into theories, and breaking things down as I play. So with all that said, let's jump into Ocarina of Time 3D and explore its world together. In the vast, deep forest of Hyrule, long have I served as the guardian spirit. I am known as the Deku Tree. The children of the forest, the Kokiri, live here with me. Each Kokiri has his or her own guardian fairy. However, there is one boy who does not have a fairy. Navi, Navi, where art thou? Come hither. O Navi, the fairy, listen to my words, the words of the Deku Tree. Dost thou sense it, the climate of evil descending upon this realm? Malevolent forces even now are mustering to attack our land of Hyrule. For so long, the Kokiri Forest, the source of life, has stood as a barrier deterring outsiders and maintaining the order of the world. But before this tremendous evil, even my power is as nothing. It seems the time has come for the boy without a fairy to begin his journey. The youth whose destiny it is to lead Hyrule to the path of justice and truth. Navi, go now, find our young friend and guide him to me. I do not have much time left. Fly, Navi, fly, the fate of the forest, nay, the world depends upon thee. Hello, Link, wake up. The great Deku Tree wants to talk to you. Link, get up. Hey, come on. Can Hyrule's destiny really depend on such a lazy boy? You finally woke up. I'm Navi, the fairy. The great Deku Tree asked me to be your partner from now on. Nice to meet you. The great Deku Tree has summoned you, so let's get going right now. So, first off, the lighting. It's one of the first things you'll notice in the 3DS version. It just gives the world more depth and makes everything feel more vibrant. Way more alive than it did on the Nintendo 64 version. Sorry, why are you running in slow motion? She's probably like, if I run slow enough, he'll probably think twice and just go back inside. Yahoo, hi Link. Wow, a fairy. Finally, a fairy came to you, Link. Wow, that's great news. I'm so happy for you. Now you are a true Kokiri, Link. Is that right? The Great Deku Tree has summoned you? It's quite an honor to talk to the Great Deku Tree. I'll wait for you here. Get going. Go see the Great Deku Tree. Before we head out, I just want to quickly talk about this drawing outside Link's house. I wanted to share my take on what I think it might represent. Some people speculate it's Link battling Ganon, while others believe it resembles King Dodongo due to the creature's dinosaur-like features. Personally, I think it's more likely to be Link fighting a Beast Ganon. Regular Ganon doesn't really have a dinosaur appearance, and it wouldn't quite make sense for it to be King Dodongo. In my opinion, Beast Ganon is the most fitting interpretation. The Great Deku Tree has summoned you. Please come with me. Here we have the Sheikah Stone. I won't dive into its purpose just yet, but I'll cover it more in depth later on, probably around part 3 or 4 when we get further into the game. Just wanted to point it out now so it doesn't get missed. So right now, we're heading to the Forest Training Center, which is actually located near the Know-It-All Brothers' house. The Know-It-All Brothers pretty much act like instructors to the Ocarina of Time. They're there to teach you the basic mechanics of Ocarina of Time, like climbing, L-targeting, and a few other gameplay tips that are helpful, especially for newer players. Now, I'm not going to show the Know-It-All Brothers right now, but I will before we leave Kokiri Forest. But at the end of the Forest Training Center lies a treasure chest, said to hold the hidden treasure of the Kokiri. Yes, that's right, the Kokiri sword, and if you read the description, it literally says the hidden treasure of the Kokiri. Now, the game never really explains why the sword is considered so sacred to the Kokiri, but personally, I have a theory. I think it's because this is the only sword they have. They are not allowed to leave the forest, so they don't have access to outside weapons or gear like other people do. So to them, this isn't just a sword, it's something rare, something special, maybe even symbolic. It makes sense that it would be treated like a hidden treasure. And speaking of the Kokiri, the forest children you see around here, they are an ageless race that takes the form of human children. Even though they never grow up, they can still die, meaning they are still mortal. The Great Deku Tree gave life to the Kokiri and protects them with his magic. It's said that if a Kokiri leaves the forest, they'll die, not instantly, but because they begin to age in places where the Deku Tree's power doesn't reach. The only reason they stay young is because of his protection. Once they are outside Kokiri Forest, they age like normal humans, and that eventually leads to death. So in a way, they are bound to the forest. Each Kokiri is also given a fairy by the Great Deku Tree. Having a fairy companion is seen as a sign of becoming a true Kokiri. We'll be talking more about the Kokiri later on as we progress through the game. There's actually a lot more to this story than what I just said, but going too deep into it right now could actually end up spoiling things that happen later. So for now, I'll leave it at that, but we'll definitely come back to them. So this Kokiri here, struggling to lift the rock, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's actually placed here as a way to teach players that you can interact with objects in the environment, like picking up rocks. It's the game's way of showing you, rather than telling you, that these things can be interacted with. In this house here, you'll notice a bunch of treasure chests sitting around. The game never really explains why they are here, but personally, I think it was placed here to help new players get familiar with opening chests and understanding ruby values early on. Kind of like a tutorial, but without any actual dialogue or instructions. Or it could have simply been meant to help players gather enough rubies to buy the Deku Shield. The Deku Shield, the thing we've been saving up for, you'll need 40 rubies to buy it from the Kokiri shop, so collecting rubies early on, like this, is pretty important if you want to move forward. This house here, it kind of acts like a recovery spot. If you've taken some damage while exploring Kokiri Forest, you could just stop by and refill your health. And in this house here, you'll find some pots you can break. It's a nice way for players to get familiar with the classic Zelda mechanic of smashing pots to find hearts and rubies, something you'll literally be doing a lot throughout the game. Hi Link, look this way. Look over here with L and talk to me with A. Yes, that's how you use a fairy. It's so great that you finally have a fairy partner. I'll teach you how to talk to people using your fairy. When a fairy flies near a person or thing, press L to look in that direction. If you use L targeting, you can talk to people from a distance like we are doing now. When you have nothing that you could target, you could press L just to look forward. Try it. Now this place here is called the Kokiri shop, and it's where you'll purchase your very first shield, the Deku Shield. Now the Deku Shield can't be found for free anywhere in the game. The only way to get it is by buying it. You can either buy it here in the Kokiri shop for 40 rubies or later on from business scrolls for 50 rubies. While I'm here, there's something pretty interesting I want to point out. If you look right here, you'll see Deku sticks for sale. According to the description, these particular sticks actually come from the Great Deku Tree himself, not from Deku Babas like the ones you'll find out in the field. The functionality is the same, but the origin is different, which I find very interesting. Also, one thing to keep in mind, the Deku Shield is flammable. It catches fire, and once it does, it breaks. So if that happens, you'll have to buy a new one. Speaking of the Deku Shield, I actually forgot to equip mine. Just a heads up, if you try talking to Mido without both your sword and shield equipped, he won't let you pass. Instead, he'll go on a little rant about how you're not ready. So make sure you've got both your Kokiri sword and Deku Shield equipped before speaking to him. If you want to see the Great Deku Tree, you should at least equip a sword and a shield. What's that? Oh, you have a Deku Shield? And what's that? Is that the Kokiri sword? Good grief. Well, even with all that stuff, a wimp is still a wimp, huh? I, the great Mido, will never accept you as one of us. Shoot, how did you get to be the favorite of Saria in the Great Deku Tree, huh? Grumble, grumble. With the Mido finally letting us pass, we are now able to make our way to the Great Deku Tree. These plant-like creatures are called Deku Babas. When defeated, they usually drop Deku Sticks. Deku Sticks can be used to light torches, solve puzzles, and even be used as a weapon. You'll be seeing more of them soon. I'll go more into detail about Deku Sticks when I actually put them to use in part 2. Great Deku Tree, I'm back! Oh, Navi, thou hast returned. Link, welcome. Listen carefully to what I, the Deku Tree, am about to tell thee. Thy slumber these past moons must have been restless and full of nightmares. As the servants of evil gain strength, the foul climate pervades the land and causes nightmares to those sensitive to it. Verily, thou hast felt it. Link, the time has come to test thy courage. I have been cursed. I need thee to break the curse with thy wisdom and courage. Dost thou have courage enough to undertake this task? Then enter, brave Link, and thou too, Navi. Navi the fairy, thou must aid Link. And Link, when Navi speaks, use to listen well to her words of wisdom. Alright, that wraps up part 1. We explored Kokiri Forest, picked up the Kokiri Sword and Deku Shield, and spoke with the Great Deku Tree. Next time we'll be heading inside the Great Deku Tree to take on our first dungeon, so stay tuned for part 2.